So the question that we have today is write the equation of the tangent line to the graph of y equals x to the second at the point x equals 1.7. So this one's a little more complicated than the question that we had earlier, because the question we had earlier gave us 2 points. However, this one only gives us the x value in the function of x. So if you recall, you've learned this in the past, but f of x equals y, or you could say y equals f of x. And I'm going to be using f of x instead of y in this function here because it's easier to kind of visualize. So what we have here is our function, which is f of x equals x squared. And it wants us to find an equation. And for an equation, you're going to need some points here. So let's get some points. So the first thing we can do is we can find the y value by plugging in the x value that it gives us into the x here, into our function. So you have f of 1.7 equals 1.7 squared. And go ahead and do that on your calculator. 1.7 to the second. It's going to be 2.89. So f of 1.7 equals 2.89. So we have one ordered pair. We have our x value, which is 1.7, and we have our y value, which is 2.89. Okay, so if you recall, we've talked about y equals mx plus b, but this one requires a y-intercept. And we also have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This one only requires one ordered pair and the slope. Both do require the slope. So slope is necessary in order to form an equation. So now the question is, how can we find the slope of a single point how can we even find the slope if we only have a single ordered pair? Normally it takes two, right? We learn that m equals change in y on top of change in x. That's what we just talked about. So how is it possible to find this slope if we don't have y2 or x2, right? Because y2 minus y1 on top of x2 minus x1. So what can we do? And this brings in the idea of a derivative. So a derivative, which is in notation like such, so you can have f of x equals x squared. The derivative is going to be f prime of x. What this means is that it gives you the equation to find the slope at any point. So we can plug the x into this equation, and it will find us our m value. As long as we know our x in the equation, we can know the m value. And the way that this is found is with a couple rules. We're going to be using a rule called the general power rule, which looks like this. So in order to find f prime of x, you're going to take up here the exponent and bring it down in front. And then you're going to subtract 1 from it. And that will bring you to f prime of x. So in practice, what happens here is this 2 comes down, this x stays, and we subtract 1. Or you can just write 2x. So f prime of x equals 2x. So to find the slope, you're going to plug our x value into this. So we're going to plug 1.7 into our derivative, into our slope equation here. So I'll write it right here. So f prime of 1.7 equals 2 times 1.7. So once again, plug it into the calculator, 1.7. It's going to equal 3.4. So that means that our m value equals 3.4. So what we have now is we have an ordered pair up here, and we have an m value down here. So now we can write our equation using the slope equation here and plug in our information. So we take our 2 points. So we have, I'll write it in this box down here. So we have y minus 2.89 equals our slope, right, m, 3.4 times x minus 1.7. And that's our final answer.